I hope we get Wirtz to show people we mean business. So do I, but I'll be honest with you. I'm still not at a point where I want to get excited just yet because everything I read suggests that people still think he's going to stay in Germany. Even David Ornstein, speaking about it earlier on, was saying that Bayern Munich are confident on it, but Liverpool are still there. He went on to say that Manchester City pulled away because they believe that he's destined to stay in Munich, but that is kind of conflicting the other reports that suggest it was the money. What it does feel like to me is certainly that City feel like they are down the pecking order in any potential move for Florian Wirtz. The knowledge at the minute out there in the public domain seems to be that Liverpool are the best place outside of Germany, if indeed he does fancy a move away. What we'd seen today from the Wirtz family was, well, a little picture with a battery recharge symbol, just showing that they were away having a break. And as soon as he lets it known what he wants to do, then Liverpool are waiting to act accordingly. And that is one thing that is written far and wide over the past day or two, is that Liverpool aren't just in this for the laugh. They very, very firmly believe they're in the mix for a signature and that the money is there should he decide that he wants to come to the Premier League. Mateus, how are you, my friend? Said, if the money is there for Wirtz, why not heavily invest in a position we struggle in, like striker, Isak and Osimhen are sitting there? Everything that I say to you is going to be obviously an opinion, because I can't sit here and tell you categorically, Mateus, why Liverpool would or wouldn't look at X or Y. The stuff about Isak is, it's up in the air. You know, if Newcastle don't qualify for the Champions League, then maybe, just maybe. But in all honesty, what's made me very interested here is just wondering if we are going to go for a centre forward. I mean, I'll take you back, Mateus, to Florian Plettenberg's post yesterday, where you start listing through the positions that Liverpool are in need of, or that Liverpool, want to recruit. So we went through the usuals, the centre back, the wide players, and then he said a number 10. So I don't know, mate, if the plan is actually to go and bring in a centre forward this summer. It seems like it's the common sense thing to do, right, with Darwin leaving. But if we brought in Wirtz and we had players who could operate in the false line position, or Szoboszlai goes back across to the number 8 position that, Arne Slot told us is his best position, I can't sit here and say to you whether we categorically sign a striker or not. I can say we're going to bring in another forward addition, but I totally get your point. On Victor Osimhen, I'm not sold on him personally. I never have been. There's some talk of a potential deal to Saudi for him, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really follow the stuff around Osimhen because I just know he's not going to be at Liverpool. The Isak stuff, I think everybody would be willing buyers for Isak. But again, you're talking about a price tag that just doesn't seem value for money. £150 million for a player that, for Newcastle alone, missed their last game because of a groin strain, I think it was. So I get where you're coming from. I can't say for certain exactly whether it'll be a 10, a 9.5, or a 9 that we sign, but the big pile of money is there, and that is definitely an area we're looking to strengthen, the forward line. Dave O.C. Kopp has said Liverpool have serious interest in Benjamin Sesko, interest that has been maintained since last year. Sesko would be interested in joining Liverpool. But there's been some of these people whose names we speak about, like Dave O.C. Kopp. I don't know him personally in any way, shape or form. But he also reported the bullshit Klopp story about Roma, which was never in a million years going to happen. So I don't know how seriously to take this. I do know that Sesko is likely to depart Leipzig this summer, but will anybody pay the asking price? They didn't get any European football, and yet they're still looking for a fee in and around 85 million euro, I think. So doesn't surprise me. We're interested. Quite frankly, I think we should be interested, but who it's going to be, your guess is as good as mine at this point. I think there's a bit of a waiting game to see what Wirtz wants to do. And then after that, we probably will see a lot of movement. But don't forget as well that Liverpool can only sign 2 players in the first 10 days of the initial window. And then there's a gap for 6 days. Then we're back from the 16th onwards. Ekitike is somebody that I've always been honest with you guys and said, I just don't think that the asking price that Frankfurt have out there is anywhere near realistic for what he's done so far in his career. To go from being a 13 to 15 million pound player when they signed him to now looking for 100 million, I just don't see it being a deal worth doing for Liverpool. But again, not my call. That's important here. I would far rather a Florian Wirtz as an example than in a Ekitike, because I really feel like Wirtz has a ceiling that is just ridiculously high, quite frankly. But I'm also not expecting anything other than him to stay in Germany. That's what my gut feeling is on it. But I'd love to be surprised. And apparently Liverpool are confident in this one. So Fabrizio Romano said the financial agreement between Liverpool and Bayer Leverkusen for Florian Wirtz is not seen as any potential issue. Liverpool are prepared to spend important money, according to Romano. Florian Wirtz was quite open to listening to the Liverpool project. Liverpool are prepared to pay important money and Bayern maintain their confidence, decision up to the player. It's well and good saying decision up to the player, but I can't underscore this enough, and you've probably seen it mentioned as well a lot. They really, really, really do not want to sell him to Bayern Munich. They just don't. They want him outside of the Bundesliga if he decides to leave. So they would certainly be more open to dealing with Liverpool. So I don't know how much pressure, if any, they want to or will apply to the player, but certainly they would prefer him to come to Liverpool. So much so that we've even seen that the number for a move to the Premier League is lower than a number they'd be demanding from Bayern Munich. But again, all of this is going to just come down to the player, and I really don't know. There's almost an air of arrogance from the German side about this. And I've seen some of their fans on social media have been sent screenshots and stuff talking about how they're such a bigger club than Liverpool in every aspect and blah, 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 blah. And look, I would say the two clubs are very similar, in all honesty, both with great European pedigree, both with good domestic pedigree, both ran well financially. Genuinely, I think you could toss a coin and say, yeah, they're probably both on a similar level. But the German fans and the German media, you really do feel like it's just a matter of him saying yes and Bayern happening. But again, we're still in the mix, so we got to keep being hopeful on it. But until I hear somebody say that the player's made up his mind and decided that he's going to X or Y, I'm just not getting my hopes up on it yet. And I know that sounds defeatist, but I just don't want to get people's hopes up until we know definitively that he is edging towards the move. I hope he does. I hope he's been paying attention to social media. I hope he's seen, Liverpool fans and the celebrations, of course, of the Liverpool fans. Even after we lost to Brighton, you've seen the lads going over to the travelling cop. They were absolutely buzzing, bouncing around the place. So yeah, I'm hoping he's paying attention to that, because he would be joining, of course, a very special club, and he wouldn't have to play then against Leverkusen in the Bundesliga for Bayern Munich. I don't know if that weighs heavy on his mind or not. Okay, so I've seen everybody's post to say Craig Anfield sector post on Christian Falk. So the post is, Liverpool are, all capitals, serious about Florian Wirtz. The bosses around football, Michael Edwards, are to fly to Boston this week. The reason for the visit, the English club want to get the figures for Wirtz transfer approved by the owner's FSG. So, I don't know if that's something or nothing, but certainly an interesting one. Yeah, they wouldn't be going through all of this if they felt like they were pissing into the wind, would they? So certainly feels like confidence is there from our side about Wirtz and going over. I don't know why they have to fly over to Boston for a meeting, by the way. That just seems a little bit a waste of time. You could have these meetings over the phone, or with Skype or Google Hangouts or fucking Meets or whatever it's called these days. But either way, let's wait and see. And they're not going to fly over there unless they feel like they have a good chance. So very, very interesting. Now, John, me old mucker, if you're watching, I've asked the question. Edwards is coming over now to make sure. So, John, the money, is it there? What we saying? Come on, John. You know it's time. You know it makes sense. So hopefully we get the green light from the player. Yeah, I mean, all that money we could be saving on air miles as well. Over to Boston. Just save that money. Just give it to me in the super chat, John, and then we can sort this out over FaceTime. Obviously, John, you've probably paid attention to my FIFA videos in the past. Seen my negotiating skills. Crunchy, curly whirly, little trip to Turkey, no problem. Sorted.